Hello and welcome everybody to the All About Footy episode for this week on the Can-Ass podcast. As we mentioned earlier on in the week, I will be hosting a show just about soccer, and Celso isn't here, so we have a special guest today, Daniel. Daniel will be here helping us out today.
Hello.
Thank you, Daniel, for coming out and talking about soccer, something that you and I are both very passionate about, so it's very, very exciting to say the least. So we're going to talk about four things today. Obviously, all about footy means that we're only going to talk about football. Or soccer, as the Canadians like to say, or North Americans, my apologies. So, four things we'll touch on. The Women's Champions League this week had some really good results for some Canadians, as well as we'll be touching, obviously, we have to touch base on the men. That was probably the biggest thing that happened this week with regards to Canadian soccer. We'll be touching base on their games against Mexico, Jamaica, and Panama. And lastly, we will be talking about the games that are upcoming here in Edmonton on November 12th and the 16th. So, Women's Champions League. We have, as most of you now know, we have quite a few Canadians competing in the Women's Champions League and various different women's teams out in Europe. There is a really big result actually this week in the PSG game. Hey, Daniel?
Yeah, we got Heidema scoring a hat trick.
A hat
trick in her first match of the season, actually, for her.
Yeah, as she started too. So that was a big one. I was really impressed by that. So for PSG, if you guys all remember, Ashley Lawrence plays on that team, and Stephanie LeBay also plays on that team. And I was looking at the shot differential. It was like 50-2. It was absurd. Yeah. It was pure domination.
PSG completely outclassed their opponents. And Heidema's goals were actually all real good goals. The first one, she bodied her defender, and the next two were just perfect striker goals. Right spot, right time.
She's 20 years old.
And she's
like only
6
getting
inches taller than everybody.
Yeah, right. She's going to become the next Sinclair man, the next striker. Top striker in the world.
Hopefully.
I do believe she has the potential to do that. So, yeah, I mean, it was very impressive result. I mean, Stephanie LeBay didn't really have to do much in that game. I think she only had to make 2 saves, but even then, he had to make a save. I think PSG, Lyon, and Chelsea are the 3 faces of women's soccer right now.
Barcelona's up there.
I mean, Real Madrid wants to think they're up there, but
don't forget about Arsenal either. They have Miedema, the Dutch striker.
Yeah. Arsenal's pretty good as well. But I think the final will be between PSG and Lyon. I just think those two are just way too deep of teams. And another Canadian that actually played in the Champions League this week. So we had Lyon play today. So we had Kadisha Buchanan play against a lesser known Canadian. Actually, was on the other team. So I think we'll just touch base on Buchanan. I'll be honest, I don't actually know what the results to that game was.
Buchanan got 2 goals.
Buchanan scored 2 goals.
She scored twice, yeah.
As a central defender,
she
scored 2 goals.
Twice for Lyon.
Okay. Wow. Yeah, that's not bad at all.
Nope, not bad.
I was gonna look that up in the middle of the episode here. So just to I typically fact check myself halfway through, so I was just gonna do that. But yeah, very nice. Very impressed by that actually. Another Canadian that featured, and I think this will tie in perfectly to our next conversation about women's soccer, is Jessie Fleming, featured for Chelsea as a substitute, she usually does. She actually had she was a focal point in one of the goals. She was a direct contributor to one of the goals that Chelsea scored in that game, which was pretty impressive actually. Mm-hmm. So Jessie Fleming is an absolute star in the making. I've said it on our podcast multiple times. She's my favorite women's soccer player. I think she is going to be one of the faces of the team in the near future, if not now, right? So
I think you can make the argument for now. How well she did in the Olympics.
Yeah.
How clutch she was for us.
Which brings us to the Ballon d'Or. And this year, the women's list was released. And, I mean, Sinclair is almost always in the list.
Yeah.
So Sinclair's in it this year, which is still a massive accomplishment. Not something to be upset or complain about. However, we have 2 more Canadians on that list. Ashley Lawrence, who I do believe she had an unbelievable Olympics for us.
Yep.
but also she is one of the best in the world at her position at right back.
She's reliable, that's for sure.
Yeah, she's still pretty young too, like 27 or 8 or something.
I think so, yeah.
She's still pretty darn young. So we have Sinclair, Ashley Lawrence, and Jessie Fleming.
Yeah.
Jessie Fleming is in the running for it. Now, when we spoke about the Lou Marsh with Celso, I know you heard that episode. You listened to it, and
Yep.
I said my number one pick for the Lou Marsh was Jessie Fleming solely because of her performance at the Olympics. Mm-hmm. I thought she had the two biggest goals in Canadian football soccer history, in my opinion. That semifinal penalty against the U.S.
Yep.
And then the finals shootout goal, the finals penalty to make it sure that we go to extra time.
Yeah.
Like, those were the two most clutch goals. I think, fine, you know what? They were both penalties, but you and I both know penalties are not always just a given. No, especially in the fact, like, the high-pressure situation that they're in. So, I don't think a Canadian wins it. You know what? I think the best chance to win it is Sinclair.
I think so, too, just because of her legacy and the gold medal.
Yeah, finally cementing that legacy, finally getting that elusive... So, I know...
This year she got This year's the year she broke the record, right, for the goals, too.
I think so. Year. Yeah, like early. That could be... That actually, that's a very good point. She might actually...
She not only broke the record, but she finally got her gold.
Yeah. Statistically, individual stats with goals and everything it came, I don't think she gets it, But if you're going to include just the fact, like, the monumental achievements that she's achieved this year, I do think she gets consideration for it. But, like, if you remember 2012, she was nominated for it and finished second behind Wambach, and she had, like, the best statistical season of her career that year, and she was still
but the Ballon d'Or is always... It's always a competition of who's won the most.
So it's like results.
It's results.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree.
There's a better chance.
I think Sinclair has a legit chance of getting it because of the fact that she broke the international goal scoring record
and
the gold medal for Canada. She scored in the Olympics too.
Yeah, she scored her first goal.
Yeah,
she got the ball going for us.
Yeah, so I think that has something to do with it as well. And she's doing really well with Portland.
She won that penalty in the final. She's the one that won it for us.
Yeah. She's doing well with her club team as well, Portland Thorns.
Yes, they are.
She's the Thorns are first, and she's every game highlight that I've seen, she's scored a goal already. Actually, she tweeted yesterday calling out the officiating for the in the NWSL.
Good old Sinclair.
Yeah, right. Like, good for her though, man. Holding those idiots accountable. That's awesome. So again, I don't know if we really have to explain it too much, but the Ballon d'Or is the most prestigious individual soccer award you can possibly get. Like I mentioned earlier, Sinclair has been nominated a few different times. No Canadian has ever won it. I honestly don't even think any Canadian not named Christine Sinclair has come even close.
Yeah.
That also being said, though, I now think a man will be able to be on that short list.
Maybe. On the short list for sure.
Fonzie next year will be, if Canada makes it to the World Cup, Fonzie is going to get on that short list.
On the short list, yes.
Sure.
Yeah.
Not in the top 3, I don't think. I don't think he's there quite yet.
He'll make the 30-player short list for sure.
Yeah, I do think he's in the top 25 to 20 players in the world right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
so excited to be
I heard a statement today that Fonzie is the best CONCACAF player.
Oh, I completely
agree with that. Yeah.
I mean, we're obviously both incredibly biased.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's Fonzie, Christian Pulisic out of the States. Exceptional player as well.
Yeah.
The States has a young kid as well. I don't remember his name. He scored the 2 goals against.
Oh yes, I know who you're talking about.
Whatever. His name doesn't matter. He's not Canadian.
And also Jimenez from Mexico.
Yeah, and then the Lozano kid guy as well.
Irvin Lozano. Yeah.
Irvin Lozano's a little older, obviously, but the most upside, and I think right now the best player in CONCACAF is Davies. Yeah. That we'll talk more about his goal that he scored Wednesday, October 13th. At the moment we're recording on Thursday, so this is a good segue because we're going to start talking about the men's national team now.
Yes,
and they had a monstrosity of like a crucial window where like this would really, in my opinion, would have made or break. Going to make or break their chances. And I said at the beginning, ideal world, we get 7 points. I'm thinking I'm absolutely over the moon ecstatic with 7 points out of 3 games. I think I said 6 was probably more likely. 5 I'd be like happy with. Anything less than 5 I'd be disappointed.
We got 7.
No, we got 5.
5?
We got 5.
We did get 5. I'm miscounting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Math is hard, I know.
Math is hard.
And you'll all see that my math is horrific because of our hockey draft. Anywho, the first game they played was against Mexico.
Yep.
At the Estadio Azteca, away.
One of the hardest stadiums to play in the world.
In the world. Not just North America, in the freaking world.
Yes.
Yes.
Mexican fans were not supposed to be in that game.
Nope.
But because Mexico had a 2-game ban for fans.
Yeah.
But they somehow overturned it, and they got their fans in.
And then the fans proceeded to yell racial and homophobic slurs in the 60th minute, which, in my opinion, is going to get them banned again.
Yeah, but
like
they
need to do harsher bans than that, man. If they really want to get that out of football, like everywhere right now, like the game that we just saw against Panama. There's zero doubt in my mind Richie Larea lost his mind on the Panama player because he said a racial slur to him.
Probably, yeah.
I have zero doubt. Doubt. The whole team went into like near fist fight with the guys.
Yep.
There's no I'm really hoping they release something about that, but we'll see. But so back to the Mexico game. So Mexico starts off winning, scoring a goal in like the 20-something minute. I think it was like minute 23. Like it was a tough break because Canada was actually playing really well that game, like really well to start. But what impressed me by far the most, Mexico is the juggernaut of CONCACAF. They are the face of the CONCACAF. Like they always win. They're always finishing first. Like this is the hardest team to beat, let alone at altitude at the Azteca.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But the fact that Canada came back and tied it up before the end of the first half, and I'm telling you, it was, let's say, of the 90 minutes, the Canadians dominated for about 70 of those 90 minutes.
Canada played a really good match. Because they did not play the stereotypical Canadian dump and chase soccer.
No.
Football.
It was pure skill.
They played possession. They played the Mexican way in Mexico.
And I think that's the new Canadian way. I think we can actually outskill some teams now.
We could definitely outskill some teams.
In CONCACAF, I think we can outskill every team not named Mexico.
Yes.
But
States would be hard.
I think so, but I think States is still a pretty young team. I do think Canada's better than the States. Looking at how the results and everything, the States got beat 1-0 at home against Panama, and we just beat Panama 4-1. So, just that alone, and then, States have had some unfavorable results. They've won more games than we have, but we didn't lose a game. We haven't lost a game yet, knocking on wood as we speak. But so the 1-1 draw, I think from apart from the 10-minute stretch in the first half where they really let the foot off the gas and Mexico got that goal, and then the last 10 to 15 minutes of the whole match, I think it was just purely dominated by Canada. And we had how many chances do we have? I think we had at least 7 or 8 legit chances, and of those 3 complete just misses that should have probably gone in, but it was either the pressure or just the nerve, whatever it was. It just
it's those chances that we missed. It showed the difference between Canada and Mexico. Just technical wise, it showed our differences.
Yeah, and I think if Mexico would have finished those, but Mexico didn't get as many chances as Canada did. That literally shows to me.
Canada had 4 big chances in the match compared to Mexico's 1, and Mexico scored off that chance.
Yeah, and that is promising because finishing you can work on, and that's not something that's something that they're only going to improve on.
And also, if you think of it, it gives their team confidence because if you think of Canada. What players do you think of? You think of Davies. You think of Jonathan David. You think of Osario. None of them are defenders. Davies is a defender. He plays defense for club, but he does not play defense for Canada.
Yeah.
Right?
And that's actually a really good point that I want to bring up, too. I said from the beginning, my biggest concern with this Canadian national squad is the defense, whether it be mostly central defenders. I didn't know if I could really trust them. I didn't see them too much, but Stephen Victoria, that game, played exceptional football.
And you could easily tell that he was missed in the next game against Jamaica.
Oh, yeah. And we'll touch base on that in a second here, right? But Vittoria played an exceptional, exquisite game. That game, this whole window, he was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Richie Larea is he's a superstar in the making, in my opinion. Like, he will be getting up to I honestly can see him potentially playing European football in the next 2 to 3 years. I think TFC can, he's an unbelievable player. I think TFC will do everything they can to keep him, but I think he is quality enough to be able to play in at least the Championship in England, or even the Premier League at some point.
Yeah. Don't forget about Tajon Buchanan. I had my doubts with him until these last 3 matches.
Yeah.
These last 3 matches, he somehow changed it around.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying he did same as Davies or whatever, but he looked a different player.
And you know who I actually credit with the most in that game, in the Mexico game, defense-wise? Alistair Johnson.
Yep.
That kid was playing Division 1 Ontario Semi-Pro League just 3 years ago. And now he is the starting right back on the Canadian national program and shutting down some of the biggest names in Mexican football.
Yeah.
He was unbelievable. He played every single minute of this window, which is just ridiculous to even think about. The kid comes out of pretty much almost nowhere. Oh my god! And then who else? I forget who else played center back that game, but it was a gutsy performance, man. It was truly a gutsy performance. I'm pretty sure it was Kamal Miller, yeah. And Kamal Miller played unreal too. Yep. There was a couple hiccups, and I think that's going to make sense the first game without your starting goalkeeper, because Kripo played. Borjan is our number one goalie. Yeah. He has COVID, I think. So he wasn't able to play, obviously.
I think Kripo might have taken that job from him.
I think Kripo had an unbelievable, a really good window. I still think Borjan's leadership is very valuable in the back end. His communication that he has with the guys back there. Yeah. I still think Borjan is a better goalkeeper, but I do think if Borjan goes down again for whatever reason, Kripo is an unbelievable number 2 that can be considered like a, I wouldn't say like world class, but I do think he is a very high quality goalkeeper.
Yeah, he has a good reputation, we'll put it there.
Yeah.
We won't say he's world class, nothing like that. He'll just say he's a good reputation.
Yeah. I forget how the Mexico goal was, but I do remember looking back and thinking that Borjan probably could have had a better chance at saving it.
Yeah.
But that's not. I don't think it was a bad goal by any means. I just think that Borjan is known to make those exceptional saves a little bit more.
Yeah.
Right. But anywho, we're set back there. If the defense holds up the way they are, and the mid, I think right now our weak point is the central midfield. Yes. But Piet's played unbelievable football. Eustachio can play really well. I think we just do a lot of turnovers. And once we give the turnover, we're a little susceptible to the counterattack, especially against the Mexico team. But that brings me absolutely to the next point. So we're talking about the Jamaica game now, the 0-0 draw.
That was a hard
game to watch.
That was a hard game to watch. We did not have Victoria. He was suspended for that one game.
Victoria, Larea, and one other player was suspended. Buchanan.
We had Daniel Henry in, and holy crap, could you tell the difference between him and Victoria? I saw him make a couple runs. He looked clunky. It was hard to watch.
So I think that the Daniel Henry didn't actually have that poor of a game. I just think it is a difference in class. He is also coming on, he had a really bad ACL injury recently. I think it was last year, the year prior. I think he's still coming into form. I do think that he's a really good center back that you can put on as a substitute.
Yeah, he's a substitute center back. He's not a starter.
Yeah, but still, the fact. So Daniel Henry in years back was our starting center back. Mm-hmm. The fact that he's now I think he's the 4th stringer.
Yeah.
Behind Vittoria, Kamal Miller, and then Kennedy. We have this Kennedy guy, really tall white dude, plays center back as well. I think he was number 23. I think that's his kit number.
Yeah.
But
one thing I like about our team though is I was taking a look in the Mexico game and the Jamaica game that everybody who played, they are either a starter or one of the first substitute off their bench in their club for their clubs.
Yeah, and it's not a Division 2 Canada league that
it's there's a few in Europe.
Bundesliga.
We got David in Lille.
Lille,
He's
100%.
outscoring everybody right now.
Jonathan David, for those of you who don't know, in the Lille, the French league has a super team in Paris Saint-Germain, and their top 3 strikers is Lionel Messi, who some regard as the greatest player of all time, myself included.
Yep.
You have Kylian Mbappe, who is the best young player in the world right now.
Yep.
And then you have Neymar, who is the highest valued player in the history of the game.
Yep.
So 3 of the greatest strikers in the world. Jonathan David is outscoring them, all 3 of them combined, in the French league.
Yep.
That is a big deal. I mean, Messi's starting off slow, I think, and they're all starting off slow, and I don't think it's going to stay on for too much longer. But David is having a big season so far in France, for sure.
Easy, yeah.
Yeah.
He's
And so my issue with the Jamaica game, the pitch was so bad they couldn't do their ticky-tack style of soccer or football that they like to play. Herdman really brings in a more skillful kind of game. Yeah. And they weren't able to do that. And then I really think that they were really missing Buchanan on that wing, because he is such an offensively gifted player as well. His biggest weakness,
he can do wing and he can be middle man.
Yeah, and the middleman. I think his biggest weakness is his defending. He was solely responsible for 1 or 2 goals in the first window, I think. Yeah. So that's something he can definitely work on. Yeah. But as a winger, he is world class, and he's going to Club Rouge in Belgium next year, in January. Not even next year.
He's a player. He's actually technically under contract right now with Club Rouge. Yeah, they just have him. He's
loaned out to New England Revolution from Club Rouge. Yeah, and honestly, Club Rouge is known for developing young superstars.
Yeah, they developed Kevin De Bruyne, one of the best midfielders in the world right now.
So I'm very excited for Buchanan to go there. I think Buchanan's only going to get better.
They're the top team in Belgium, too.
Yep, and they're playing in the Champions League football right now. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's only going to be good. And I think actually Buchanan will be eligible to play in the Champions League.
Yeah,
if he ends up going over there. So I'm very excited to see more Canadian content in the Champions League.
Will also make it out of the group stage, but
yeah. I don't think Buchanan's going to make them go over the top.
No.
Quite yet, but I do think they're a much better team with Buchanan, and I'm very excited to see his development. But yeah, the Jamaica game, from the get-go, I said Jamaica should have been the one. I thought it was going to be we're going to lose against Mexico, beat Jamaica, and either tie or beat Panama. And I'm ecstatic over the fact that we even just tied against Mexico. I'm a little disappointed that we tied against Jamaica, but winning away in CONCACAF is really tough.
Yep. For
anyone, getting points away from home is really tough.
I think that, in my opinion, it's tougher for Canada and the States to win away than the other countries.
I agree.
Just because the other countries, they have
South American football, man.
It's so different. Football for them, yeah.
So different.
Up here for Canada and the States, it's not just about football. It's about hockey.
Yeah.
American football. All the other sports, down there, it's just footy.
Yeah. Yeah, so I would very much agree with that statement, actually. But Jamaica didn't have any fans, so we couldn't even use the excuse of the fans in Jamaica. The pitch was just horrific. I think they needed to have played a different style, they had chances against Jamaica. They had 3 chances they could have scored. It's
Miller
really just
chance though.
Yeah,
Miller really should have put that one in.
100%, 100%. But the thing is, again, we're talking about chances they had. Instead of they were dominated all game, they didn't do anything. No, Canada was a dominant team in all 3 games for a majority of the time.
Yeah.
This is incredible. This is truly the greatest time to be a Canadian football fan right now.
Yep.
Canadian soccer football fan.
Yeah.
The greatest time. This is the best team I've ever seen in my lifetime, and it's not even close. Men and women. It's not even close.
Not even close.
No. And then, so Jamaica finished 0-0. Very disappointing. Herdman went out and said he's happy about the result, and that just speaks on the leadership of Herdman too. Knowing how to motivate his men and everything.
Herdman, he's one of the most underrated managers.
100%.
He brought. For those of you who don't know, he would manage the Canadian women's team before the men's team. He put them on the map in 2012 in London Olympic Games. Did the same thing in 2016 in Rio. And then
I think he was. I mean, Bev Priestman was the manager for the women this last Olympics, but she was an understudy of Herdman's. Herdman brought Bev Priestman over.
Herdman's.
Yeah, And I don't even think it's
their
just
strategy was Herdman.
yeah, and it's not just what he brings to the physical team at the moment. Like his development of young talent in
Yeah.
like he was instrumental in the development of the young women playing soccer across the country. And just bringing up more talent and like now you're seeing Canadian women playing across the world, which before you saw barely anyone.
Yeah, Ben Herdman, in my opinion, is he. A lot of people talk about the moment where for the Canadians
Did you say
team,
Ben Herdman?
Ben Herdman.
It's John Herdman.
Oh, John Herdman. Wow, John Herdman.
Okay.
John Herdman. Sorry.
You disrespect the god.
Yeah, John
or
Herdman.
the Godfather, you know.
But yeah, so John Herdman, he helped create that moment in Rio when we got a medal, London, where we got a medal for the first time in a while.
Mm-hmm.
That created the moment of like Canadian women wanting to go out and play soccer or football.
So, and the thing I love about Herdman too, he was given full reins on the entire national program when he took over for the men, and that includes talent and development and the camps that he's going to do in Leeds. And so he's the guy for Canadian football. And when he took over for the women, he did the same thing for the women. Yeah. And he is directly responsible. Yes, you know what, girls are motivated to go and play, but there's just a thing, like you can be motivated, but you have to be developed properly to become a superstar.
Yeah.
And John Herdman is responsible for that. Yeah. I cannot understate enough how crucial Herdman is for this country.
If you think back, even do the math. Jordan Heidem was 20 years old in the London games.
Should have been like 11.
Yeah. So she would have seen that moment, and then she would have been able to been developed under Herdman's.
Julia Grosso as well, actually. Julia Grosso scored the golden
penalty.
Goal, the new golden goal for Canada.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I don't think it'll be the new golden goal, but
I'm considering it the new golden goal. For me, that goal was as big as Crosby's.
It was, but
actually, personally, for me, it was bigger.
Yeah, but I think Crosby's goal is the golden goal just because we're a hockey nation.
I get it, but for me, Julia Grosso's last penalty was the biggest goal ever scored in any sport in the history of our country.
You can credit Sweden's goalie for making it look nicer.
Right? Anywho. And then lastly, we'll touch base on Panama. So I was sitting down watching the game from my kitchen table and like finishing the last of the editing in the last video that we just posted. Mm-hmm. And I look up and we're down 1-0 and I barely saw the goal. I was so sad, dude. I was so sad. So I stopped my editing. I went and sat down and started watching the game. From that moment on, like right after the goal, I'm like, oh no, like, are we gonna sink, man? Like, or are we gonna swim after this?
Yeah, I got the notification on my phone.
Swim.
I got the notification on my phone for the goal, 4 minutes in.
Yeah.
Right.
But it was
and I thought to myself, well, we had a good run.
Yeah.
This is where Canada.
And well, seriously though, because Panama's not a bad team. Panama just beat the States. They're at that point they were third in CONCACAF. Like they're good. They're a decent team. They qualified for the World Cup the last time.
Win game.
100%. 100%. It was a must win. Yeah. And so we're down minute 4 in, and like for those of you like I can be a little bit of a pessimist when it comes to this stuff. Like I was still passionate. I was like, all right, no, you know what, man, we're a better team. We can do this. We can come back and win, or at least tie it. Like that's what I'm thinking. Like, but then at the same time, it's like that's a big goal to let up just 4 minutes in. Like, and this is a young team. I don't think it's unrealistic to expect a young team to just sink after that.
Yeah.
But boy, we swam like a swimming performance that Michael Phelps would be proud of. like
yeah,
it was complete and utter domination, and I cannot I cannot mention this enough. Like, dominated. Like the possession numbers are going to show a different story. I think it ended with Panama 55 and Canada 45, something like that. But it was just because like the first 15 minutes, Panama was just of the second half. Sorry. Or 20 minutes of the second half, Panama was just holding onto the ball, and Canada maybe had like a couple chances and a couple touches until the goal.
And guess who led the whole Canada, the whole match?
Edmonton's own. Yeah. Alphonso freaking Davies. Okay, that individual performance he had, for me, goes down as one of the greatest performances in the history of, again, sports in Canada.
Yeah, one of the greatest Canadian performances for their country. So like
for their 100%.
Yeah, so like for their country.
Could not agree more.
Right.
Like, he deked through like 7 guys in one play at one point, and like had a legit chance on goal, and like it was his corner that went off the defender that went in for the first goal.
Yeah.
The second goal, I mean, everyone has to have seen that goal already.
Oh,
If you haven't, just literally look up Fonzie the goal, and you will see it everywhere.
We can talk for at least 45 minutes about that goal.
At least.
Yeah.
Oh my god, dude. Like, it is so good. And then he was instrumental. So Richie Larea had the assist for the third goal, and then Fonzie had the assist for the fourth goal.
And what I like the most is his reaction after David scored. Fonzie was as if he scored the own goal. He scored the goal himself. He was fist pumping the air. It's the hardest fist pump I've seen.
And not only did he play well individually, but you really saw his leadership. Like, he sent in David on a couple of times. The first time, David was just so hesitant because he wasn't having a good spell this last month. No. He didn't have a very great spell, but he was hesitant, and he passed it back, and then Wotherspoon got his shot stopped. But it was just because David had the much better chance. He was in alone on goal. He could have just placed it.
I also think Wotherspoon just surprised that David passed the ball.
Yeah, I think so as well. And I mean, you can't really fault the guy.
I'm surprised that David passed that ball.
I was shocked because he had it was just him and the goal. Yeah. He just had to move. Yeah. Anywho, and at that point, Fonzie, right after that happens, he goes up to David. He's like, dude, take the shot. And he's like, and you can see it. You could read his lips. He was a little more adamant than that. But he went up to him and was like, no, you have to shoot this. Like, just take the shot. The next time Fonzie does it past him, like not even 5 minutes later, David shoots. And it was a beautiful save by the Panama goalkeeper. It could have been a better shot from David, but it was still a nice save by the Panama goalkeeper. And David goes up and was like, that is what we want. Keep on doing that. And he was just his leadership that he showed.
See, for me, in my opinion, this Panama game was the best one we've had in years for Canada. But also, I think that Davies, like, this whole qualifying campaign, he was doing stuff under the radar. So he would do stuff off the stat sheet, right? Because if you think of it, any sports fan, first thing you go is, what's your stat, right? For a lot of sports fans, they go, what's your stats? How many
goals do they score? How many assists did they get? Yeah. Like, what was
what's 100%. Your stats like, right? So until this Panama game, Fonzo Davies was just doing off the stat stuff. So leadership and all that. He's getting a second assist or something like that in soccer or footy. The second assist doesn't count like in hockey.
Yeah.
Right? But this game, I don't know what he had for breakfast, but he should have it again.
Right after he scores his 2-1 goal, like not even a minute later, like after kickoff, Panama's like starting to press. Fonzie runs like 40 yards sprint, takes the ball away and defends.
Yep.
Like, he's playing solid defense, and even at that point it was 3-1. Like 5 minutes after that or something, it was 3-1, and he's still coming back, and he's still the first guy back to defend. Like,
and he in the sprint he had for his goal, take a guess at how fast he was.
I don't know, like
38 kilometers an hour.
That's absurd.
He's faster than McDavid on ice.
That's ridiculous. That's absurd.
For those, like, just put that in perspective. In the Olympics, Andre DeGrasse ran 44 kilometers an hour.
Yeah.
That's absurd. Davies only ran like a little bit slower than him.
And so the result in the end was a 4-1 win against Panama, obviously. It should have been probably 6 or 7 because of the fact that they missed 3 penalties. 2 for sure, and 1 was like a questionable one. But I was texting with the cousins, the Peru cousins, about this game, and we're like talking about they were celebrating every goal, like they're celebrating with us, and I was livid over the missed penalty. And we do not have VAR. There's no video replay.
You have to keep in mind, when we go to Panama, when we go to El Salvador or Honduras, those aren't going to be called for us either.
No, because there's no VAR. If there's VAR, it would be called.
Oh, it would, but it just won't.
Like, no, this is my issue. My issue is VAR. How you have a World Cup qualifying event? How on earth do you not have VAR installed?
Oh, no, you're 100% right.
This is the biggest joke in football in the world right now is the fact some people are complaining that VAR is too... Like, in this window alone, 4 missed penalties, 3 in one game, 4 missed penalties, 2 missed red cards. Zero, no question. You know what? We had a couple of yellows missed as well against us. I'll fully admit. But 4 missed penalties and 2 red cards missed. How? And one of those reds was in Mexico.
Yeah.
You were playing against Mexico, a 10-man Mexico with like 50 minutes left in the game. Are you serious?
Yeah.
Like, if VAR was there, we would have probably won that game because of the 10 men.
Mm-hmm.
It's completely absurd. How FIFA doesn't have VAR, it's absolutely baffling to me. And I don't know big enough words to express my anger over this situation, but I had to go for a walk yesterday. At the end of half, I was so pissed off. We just finished getting fouled the second time in the box. And then I'm like, okay, no, I'm going for a walk. I don't care if it's like -5 outside. I'm going for a walk. I need to cool down somehow because I was just livid.
Yeah, the fact they don't have VAR is stupid.
It's absurd.
Yeah.
It's absolutely absurd. And then even like, I don't know, like how can you have an international tournament where there's no replays and you have the technology for it? And then the cousin's like, maybe they can't afford it. I'm like, I'll donate money. Like, I'll set up a GoFundMe and send it to FIFA if they really need to. Like, I just got to the point where I was just livid.
Yeah, but, like, we can't, like, you're right.
Also,
you can't,
the fourth official needs to do a much better job then.
Yeah.
The linesmen need to do a significantly better job at watching that. Like, the lines, I was a referee for 4 years. The linesman job is just to look down the line, make sure that, and then just see anything around him. Like, you just have your eyes, like, keep your eyes wide open all the time. Right?
Yeah.
Like, it's completely absurd. Oh, I don't know how you cannot have VAR in these situations. And it's like,
Let's move from the negative to the positive. And that match against Panama, like, we talked...
They came back.
We talked about the moment for the women's side of the game when we got that medal in 2012. I think that Panama match is the start of the moment.
Absolutely agree.
For men's side of the game.
I think after this November window, which we'll touch base on in a second, if we win both games, then Panama game was the one that kickstarted this run for us. Because I think they're both home games. You have to win every home game. Let's not even kid ourselves.
Yeah.
And you're playing against Costa Rica, very good football team. One of the best goalkeepers in the world.
Yep.
And you have Mexico, the face of CONCACAF for the last 100,000 years or something, whatever it was. These are the 2 games we're playing, so that's gonna be huge. But one more thing I want to point out about the Panama game, I was so impressed with how they were united as a group.
Yeah,
they were not letting up. Like, as anybody who knows me, especially when I play football, my biggest thing, I stand up for my fellow players, man. Like, that's my biggest thing. And that's why I stopped playing, because, you know what? I felt I was the only one standing up for us, and I got concussed because of it on multiple occasions.
Yeah.
And, this team, all 11 men on that pitch are standing up for each other.
Even the substitutes.
And the substitutes are standing up for each other. Yeah. They will not take anything. Did you see Herdman after Fonzie got his... what should have been the red card against foul on him, the penalty foul against him.
No.
Okay, Herdman ran up to the Panama bench and started ripping them a new one. He had to get held back by the officials, and oh my god, he went and attacked those idiots because of just the way he's like, this is completely unacceptable. Like, how can you be doing that in this game? Like, you're just intentionally trying to injure. That could have been both a penalty and a red card. Yeah. So I'm adding a third red card to the total that VAR missed out on.
And honestly, I think that's the most united Canadian team we've had.
It's a brotherhood.
Not just that, but in order to go to Central America and have any chance of success, you need to be that united.
Could not agree more, because in South America or Central America, they're going to be a lot more physical, and they're going to be quite dirty. Yeah, honestly,
they play like South America. They will. If you go for a ball, they're going to be nipping at your ankles.
And listen, we're both Peruvian, we're both South American, so we can say this, okay? Like, South American football is dirty football. Yeah. Let's not even kid ourselves. Like, they do the smart little, you and I have played this kind of football as well. We clip people in the back of the ankle. Like, that's probably what caused my concussions, because I was just playing like an absolute pest the whole time. And like,
The shoulder, elbow comes out a little bit too far sometimes.
I've never elbowed somebody in the face just because I know.
Not the face.
Oh,
The
I
back.
definitely in the gut. Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah, no.
Oh, you're too close to me. Your breath
If it's in the
stinks. I'm gonna
face,
elbow you.
if it's in the face, it's a
100%.
red. If it's in the back, it's nothing.
Yeah. And that's the kind of football that they're going to be playing against in Central America. So this team needs to be united if they're going to win these away games.
Or have a chance at these away games.
Yeah. I definitely think that they have.
They're united
things
enough,
are looking up. They're so together. They're so united. But they need to learn how to win the dirty style of football games. Because as you can see already, you're not going to have officials that are going to stand up for you.
No.
It's not happening. Actually, the only official that has handed out red cards for big plays like that was a Canadian official in the Mexico against El Salvador game that just happened the other day too. 2 red cards. Yeah. He handed out 2 red cards, and both were deservingly so. So I know we're talking about Canadian soccer right now, so we're going to talk about the Canadian officiating team. That officiating team was one of the better officiating groups that was out there. So the Jamaica game, I actually thought the ref did exceptionally well. I think he called like 26 fouls. He probably could have handed out 1 or 2 more yellows, in my opinion.
There was a few. Like, I'm surprised that one of the Jamaicans didn't get a red. Yeah. I'm not gonna lie to you.
You know what? But like, I wasn't actually as upset with that because he was consistent for both sides.
Yeah.
In that sense, and Canada had a couple yellows that they probably could have received, but they didn't. Actually, Piet was really close to getting a red for that one foul that he had. So thankfully, it was only a yellow, if I'm not mistaken. But I mean, it's just absurd. The officiating is an absolute atrocity in this world right now. It's in every sport. It's bad.
See, so you went off on your little rant about FIFA with the VAR in CONCACAF.
It's not a little rant. I'm still livid about it.
Yeah, but my little rant about FIFA is, why are you keeping CONCACAF officials officiating CONCACAF games?
Yeah. I mean, maybe it's close to COVID.
Probably, but still. I'd like the officials in the World Cup qualifying match, any World Cup qualifying game, they should not be from the same region.
I absolutely agree. It's just biased. Yep. And like, yeah, I don't know. That Canadian group that officiated the Mexico El Salvador game with 2 reds, they were very warranted. Mm-hmm. Very much so. I mean, they need to install VAR, man, because officiating is not an easy thing to do. You're going to miss things, but that's why you have VAR to help you with it. But like, I don't know, man. You gotta start calling this kind of stuff. Like when somebody uses a racial slur on the pitch and you're right beside them and you don't hear it, like, come on, get out of my face, dude. Like, there's no way. Like, why else would Richie Larea risk getting a yellow card to start a fight with a guy?
Yeah.
Like, just be smart about it. And then I'm actually shocked that Fonzie's goal actually went through because most players, like officials would have called it out. It wasn't out.
No, it wasn't.
But most officials are like, oh, there's like a little gap. Yeah, it's out. Like, no, the whole freaking ball has to go over. And that one linesman made a brilliant call in allowing that to stay in. Yeah. And even Panama news reporters, I was watching a few videos of them. Yeah, I was actually about
to say that. What I love about that goal is I love the goal itself. But I just saw a video today about the top, like the most popular sports news in Panama. They were watching the game live.
Mm-hmm.
And what Fonzie scores that goal, and what one of the guys goes is he starts yelling at the Panama player, and he goes, "That is goddamn Fonzie. Why are you not running? You need to run. That is Alfonso goddamn Davies."
Yeah, he said a lot more colorful words that we're not allowed to say on the YouTube, I guess. Yeah. But he's very colorful. But yeah, it's. First off, the fact that we're getting recognition, our players are getting recognition across the world, huge. But the officials need to be better, man. The officials just have to be better. Like,
I feel like that's just a conversation everybody has for every sport.
And I agree, but VAR is able to help that out in Europe. VAR was crucial with a bunch of plays in the World Cup and the Euros this last year as well.
And the Olympics.
And the Olympics saved us a couple times.
Saved us twice, actually.
You need to have VAR.
In the States and in the...
Because officiating is not an easy thing to do. I've done it. Like I said, I've done it. It's not really easy. All you can hope for is just be consistent. But you got to keep your eyes open, man. Like, seriously, it's... So many of that stuff is so easy. And then the ref had a very clear view on 2 of those penalties. Like, how is that, like, that... After the game, they said that the refs went into the FIFA box to like review a bunch of their footage. For me, they're reviewing the Richie LeRae incident, and then they're viewing a couple of the penalties again. I think they were of some sort like being either scolded for. I would hope they're being scolded for that, or at least educated on it, because you can't have this. You can't have this. This is the biggest tournament in football. This is the biggest thing. This is the World Cup qualifying. You are trying to get your country into the biggest tournament in sports.
Yeah, that's like it is big. The World Cup is by the numbers the biggest tournament by far.
Yeah, statistically speaking,
Yes.
100%. And we're not just saying this because we're half Latin American, or actually most Latin American, born and raised here. But the World Cup is the biggest individual sports tournament or moment in the world. The World Cup final gets more views than anything else in the world.
By far.
It's not even close.
So I think what Super Bowl's biggest viewing is 100 and something million.
Yeah.
Yeah. World Cup final gets like 3 billion.
It's absurd.
Yeah.
It's not even close. And you don't have VAR for it, man. Like, I could honestly have a 4-hour episode just ripping on VAR and breaking down every single penalty. But we have the luxury of seeing it on TV on replays, and I respect that. I completely acknowledge that. But when you're in front of there, like, the officiating has to be better. Canada will get injured in Central America if they're not better. That El Salvador game that we had in the first window, there should have been 3 red cards alone in that game against El Salvador.
See, what I like so far about this window is, I like you talk about the El Salvador game because I was going to talk about that, is we've had 6 games, right? Yeah.
6 games, 3 in the first window, 3 in this last window, yes.
So the first 2 games of the first window, we drew. Their game, we needed a win. What did we do? We won convincingly.
Mm-hmm.
Next 2 games.
Against a dirty El Salvador without our best player and the best player in CONCACAF.
Yeah. In the next 2 games, good results. We're happy with draws. Maybe not the Jamaica game, but we'll take the draws. We'll take the points.
Mm-hmm.
What did everybody say this Panama game was? Must win game. What did we do? Convincing win.
Yeah.
So when the chips are down, so far this Canadian team, when it's a must win, they've shown that they got the goods.
So now this is a perfect segue into the next, our last topic for today. Do you think that this is a must win? These 2 games are must wins.
I think the Costa Rica game is a must win. I don't think you can, as a Canadian, we cannot call a game against Mexico a must win just because it's Mexico. I think we're still at the point, I think, where if we play Mexico, we should be happy with the draw.
Okay. I would agree somewhat. I think Costa Rica is a must win. I think we definitely have to win. This is where you start separating the top to the bottom of the table.
Yep.
I think the Mexico game should be considered a must-win. Like, they need to put everything they can into making sure that they win this game, because we tied in Mexico. This is our chance to get 3 points up on them. This is our biggest chance to be able to really cement ourselves as a top 3 team in CONCACAF. If we beat Mexico, we are in the driver's seat, and it's not even close anymore.
Yeah, if we beat Mexico, then we already have, I would like to say we have our fate in our hands right now.
I completely agree. We absolutely do have our fate in our hands.
If we come out with 4 points in the next window, it's only the 2 games. If we come out with 4 points in the next window, or in the 2 home games, sorry, we still have a really good chance of getting in, and we still hold our own fate. But if we come out with 6, we are almost guaranteed in.
We're first.
Yeah. And we are almost guaranteed to be in there.
Because we're actually lucky Mexico plays against the States.
Yeah.
In the first game.
Yeah.
So we're playing against Costa Rica on the 12th. Mexico will be playing against the States on the 12th. I don't know if it's a home game or I'm kind of hoping that Mexico's playing at home, because that's a long travel up from Mexico, from the Azteca to Edmonton in the middle of winter.
They're playing in the States.
In the States? Okay, so that's not as good for them then. But yeah, so Costa Rica is going to be a huge game, must win in my opinion for Canada.
What I like is that it's going to be in Edmonton.
Yeah.
So it's going to be even colder.
The cold's going to be absolutely insane. And Costa Rica, not a single one of them are going to be used to playing in this cold.
Yeah.
Even Mexico, I'd argue.
Yeah, because think of it, all our matches were in Toronto up to now, right?
Yeah.
Even before in the old qualifiers, every time we played Mexico, it was in like Toronto.
Or BC
Montreal
place.
Yeah, BC Place.
BC Place and Toronto are the two places
Yeah,
that
and
really
BC
had
Place has a
games.
roof, so.
Yeah. If it's like, I was listening to the TSN 1260 today, and Matthew Wanek, he's like, yeah, why would we play Mexico in BC Place? It's the stadium roof, like Advantage Mexico.
Yep.
Like, yeah, you're absolutely right.
Yep.
So this window, we have to be Costa Rica. They have to come out just absolute guns blazing, and like for me, it has to be a convincing win against Costa Rica. I'm thinking like 2-0.
This window is so important because the next windows we have 4 games where we're going down to Central America. And I know we said this already, it's crazy down there. But for those of you who don't know, it gets so crazy that the Central American fans will be letting off fireworks at 2 a.m.
And there'll be riot police.
There'll be riot polices.
Yeah.
There will be car horns going off throughout the entire night. Like, it's going to be crazy. Like, Canada is not going to get any rest.
Nope.
At all.
So Canada is they have to win these 2 games at home in order to be on the driver's seat, but also to be able to not feel as much pressure in the away games in Central America. Because, I mean, you're obviously going to want to win every game that you play. You don't go into a game hoping, okay, I really hope we tie this game, or I hope we only lose by 1 or 2 today.
Yeah.
No, you go into every game wanting to win. And they're going to go like that into Central America, but we're going to have some disappointing results in Central America, like Jamaica, a case in point.
Yeah.
So just defend the home. And this is where we're going to say, anybody listening who lives in Edmonton, man, go support the boys. Like, it's not even expensive tickets, like $30 a ticket. And like, I'm honestly debating, depending on how much they are, I might just buy extra and just hand them out to people who want to go. Yeah. If you really want to go see a game and can't afford it, just tweet at me, and then I'll see what I can do. Because everyone needs to go and support these guys.
That's one thing I liked about the game, the Panama game, is how many fans there were and the atmosphere that it seemed.
And I'm honest. I'm scared there's gonna be more Mexican, like a lot more Mexican fans than Canadian fans in the Mexican game.
I'm scared of that too. But
this is why we need to go and support it.
But one thing that we haven't talked about yet is that it's Fonzie's coming home.
Fonzie's coming home, baby.
And I honestly think that we're not going to be playing on a bad pitch. We're going to be playing common.
We're going to be playing on artificial turf, so that's tough. And that's kind of tough for our style of game, too, because the ball goes by a lot quicker.
It does, yeah, but we're not going to be playing on patchy stuff like we play in Jamaica.
It's true. It's true.
I prefer artificial turf over
artificial turf is tough on them, though. It's tough on the joints.
Yeah, but I think Fonzie is going to have that extra kick in him. And just the fact that he had this great game to finish this window sets him up beautifully for the next window. And I think that he's going to carry the momentum, and it's going to be Fonzie's show, I think.
It needs to be. If we want to have a chance at winning both games, Fonzie needs to be the outstanding performer. Buchanan needs to step up.
It's going to be the first time he's playing a super meaningful match in front of his family, dude.
Yeah.
Just everybody wants to do better when they're in front of their family.
I hope he doesn't try too much, though. Because that can very easily turn bad against Mexico and Costa Rica. They're both quality enough that if one guy tries to win it on his own, it's not going to happen.
But Fonzie is too much of a leader to do that, in my opinion.
I think so. I mean, I think
he's too humble.
I think they're going to start off. I'm going to be honest. I think they start off a little slow against Costa Rica.
Yeah, and that's why I like that we play Costa Rica first.
Yeah.
Because out of the two teams, Costa Rica is the worst team compared to Mexico, and they're by far less threatening in the attack, Costa Rica, and it can give Canada the 10-15 minutes that we're going to need to settle into the game.
I think realistic 4 points out of this next window we'll be happy with. Mm-hmm. I'd be ecstatic with 6 points, like just so happy. Mm-hmm. I'd be gutted with 3 points. Anything less than 3 points, I'd be pretty upset. Yeah. Sad more than I'd be more sad than angry.
I'd be worried if anything less than 3 points.
Good call. Yeah, that's better wording than that.
Not sad. I'd be worried.
Yeah, because this is big, man. Like, you cannot get your foot off the gas. Once you're qualified, once you're clinched a qualification, then you know what? Let the foot off the gas. Let the subs in. Let them let the substitutes play the game so that you can really see who's going to play in the World Cup for you. But this they're starting to get the foot on the gas. They're winning game. They're getting results that they're not supposed to. Like, they're doing better than they're supposed to in some games. Mm-hmm. And then they're winning the must-wins right now, as of right now. But the Jamaica game is what scares me the most, because the bottom table teams, like the Honduras 1-1 draw right now is a really bad result. The first game that we played, but they came back and they won, and they were clearly nervous that whole game, and it was a different Canada that we saw that game than we just did against Panama.
Yeah.
Completely different.
I'm just hoping that what we saw in Panama, in my opinion, against Panama, in my opinion, is Canada starting to settle into their game.
I agree.
So I hope they can carry that. What we need David to keep going in France. We need Davies to keep doing what he's doing in Germany, and then everybody else needs to just stay the same, which is the hardest thing to do in sport, is keeping your level the same.
Yeah, and then just looking in the next fixtures. I mean, we got Canada against Costa Rica and Mexico, and then after it's against Honduras in Honduras.
Yeah.
So, first off, that's gonna be a big game. Though, like the away games that we have to win are going to be El Salvador and Honduras. Those are must-win away games that they have to get the results against.
What I like about this window is that this next window is just 2 games.
Yeah, and then they'll be able to rest properly and everything, and then the next window after that is back to 3, and then 2 again. So I do want to provide further clarification on the incident in regards to Richie Larea. So I don't know if you know this, but Gareth Wheeler from one of the soccer networks here in the country tweeted out apparently number 10 from Panama, Barquenas, I think is what his name is, spat at Larea, and that's what caused the entire melee. And it's so clearly evident on the video replay that we have here, which is just more further indication that it is absolutely crucial for a VAR to happen here, because I mean, it would have been in the 87th minute. It wouldn't have done much of a difference for the game or the result at all. But this is something that's completely unacceptable, and it should be a big suspension, immediate red card, and at least 4 or 5 games. Like, this is just an absolute disgrace and does not belong in soccer at all. Anyways, I think that's everything we'll touch base on for today's episode. Daniel, thank you so much for coming out and talking footy. This was a lot of fun, and hopefully everybody listening, is able to be as excited as we are for this Canadian team. Like, we got to go out, we got to support these men. This is a real chance that we have at qualifying for the World Cup. I'm so used to heartbreak of not qualifying and not having a national team that I can support on the men's side for so long. But this is really starting, like, I'm carefully optimistic.
Yeah.
This is our best team that we've ever had, and these guys should be able to make it to the World Cup. I'm just hoping they have the leadership within to be able to do that.
Yep.
And I think they do.
I think they do too.
I think they do. And they have another level they can play at too. This isn't the best that we've seen yet. They have another level they can hit.
They can, but the Panama game, I think, is the best that they've played so far.
That they've played so far, I still think there's more levels. I think David could have done better. I think our mid could have done better. Yeah. I think Buchanan, Davies, and Larea and Johnson, Vittoria, and Miller, like those 6, the whole back line was exceptional. And then our Davies and then Buchanan, those 2 were exceptional. Yeah. I think if the other 4 step up, that'll be huge. Because, I mean, Kripo in goal, he played pretty well, too. He wasn't at fault for anything, really. Good saves, yeah. But anyways, thank you very much, everybody, for listening. This next episode will be interesting. We'll be recording it on the road, actually. Celso and I will try to get together. We're attending an event out of town, so we're going to try to get together and record. If not, we might be skipping this week, but, stay tuned and check it out to see. We'll do our best. So this week there's a lot of talk about the NHL season's up again, and I mean, yeah, what's there not to love about the NHL season? So I had an awesome day on Wednesday, dude.
Yeah, it was a good day.
Canada and Oilers, let's go.
That Oilers game was fun.
Yeah. So thank you everybody for listening. Hopefully you enjoyed the episode today, and we'll see you later on this week.